created one project. Simply I follow that same steps that whatever I mentioned in your PDF file. Okay, so already I created the project. Just wait, hello world. So that hello world project I have to point in our VS Code. Inside that hello world there is lot of files. Minimum files is present in there. So you have to point that folder. So open that hello VS Code. Click file, open folder. Go to your path. For example, your path is JBK corporate patch hello world. Okay, now select the folder. Your full hello world project is imported in your VS Code. Okay, all files are present here. Okay, so our main lookout is our SRC folder. I have to use SRC folder. But other files are important, but our development purpose is not that much important. Only package.json and angular.json, that both files is important for your Angular application. Rest of the file is important, but it is used for the configuration purpose. That file tsconfig, tsconfig.json, spec.json, all these are used for your configuration purpose. Okay, so no need to worry about that files. Only just your main file is angular.json file, your package.json file, and your source folder. Node modules is a folder is used for the development purpose. Okay, whatever you are when you develop any application, for that you require a node modules folder. When your application is live or production level, in that scenario your node modules folder is not present. It present only while your development phase. Okay, next, in SRC folder in SRC folder there is also one lot more files is present. This much file is there: app folder, asset folder, environments folder, then index.html, main.ts, and there's test.ts. Okay, so in app folder we can create our component. In app folder we can create your component, whereas asset folder, your asset folder is used to store your static images. It is used to store your static images, your JSON file, okay, or other stuffs. We can use a asset folder for that purpose, like your company logo. Yeah, you have to mention the internally image for static images, icon images. You can mention it in asset folder. You can keep that images, file, audio file, video file, all the statics files you require in your Angular project. You can mention, keep it as in asset folder. Then next is an environmental folder. That environmental folder is used to check where your application is in development phase or is in production phase. For that we use a production environment folder. In that there is a two files, environment.prod.ts, okay, and second one is environment.ts. When your application is in production mode, then environment.prod.ts file comes into the picture. While your application is development phase, then environment.ts file is used. Okay, so how we can recognize that which file is used? So it is checked in the main.ts file. In main.ts file, it is a simple code they are written. Just I want to clear these things. Okay, here it checks if environment.production is in production mode. If it is production mode, then it enable prod mode. Otherwise, it is in development mode. if you look out that file in environment.prod.ts, there is one more JSON object, that is an environment, whose key is the production. And that keys type is true. If the key is a true, then it understand it is a production mode. And environment.ts file, again, it is used for development purpose. In that case, production key is a false. So from here itself, we can understand it is a which phase, development phase or environmental phase. Okay. Then after that, in your Angular application, only one index.html file, means main file. I want to say index.html file is your main file. In that file, that contains full HTML code, means your root tag also here mentioned. HTML is your root tag, head tag. Again, it is a subnode basically. Then next, your body tag. In body tag, you can mention your HTML tag as well. Okay? Means your index.html contains full HTML code. Whereas in Angular application, you created your component. In that component also has a HTML file, but that HTML file does not have such type of coding, means your root tag, head tag or body tag. That tag is not present in that HTML file. Only these basic tags, that is a root, we call it as a root tag, that present in your index.html. Okay, so it is called a SPA application, that is called single page application. In the index.html file, we can render our different component. Rendering means display your component, okay, in your index.html file. Okay, so in Angular application, how it is design flow, how it is work actually. Okay, so first see that things. When your application is running, first Angular application read your angular.json file. Okay, in angular.json file, it contains your project structure. It mentions your project structure. So which file present in which folder, all structure is mentioned in that angular.json file. So initially it read that file and it get that index.html file as well as main.ts file path location. Okay. Means it running index.html file, at the same time parallelly it loads main.ts file. Then it goes your index.html file and it execute line by line code, because HTML file is executed line by line code. When it comes your body tag, it checks app-root. It's a something different thing. App-root. It doesn't understand what exactly it is app-root. Okay. Then it goes to your main.ts file for to recognize this app-root, what exactly. So at the same time, your main.ts is executed parallelly. So check out that main.ts. In main.ts, it checks whether your application is in production mode or development mode. After that, it bootstrap your platform, okay, which initially component you have to render in your browser. That mention here bootstrap module. Here mention the bootstrap module. In that we can mention the app module. Any Angular application, one root module is present. That root module is called app module. Always and always one root module is present. More than module is there. You can create one more module as well. But initially, one root module is present in your Angular application. That is app module. So it loads your app module first. And it goes your app modules. That app modules present in your app folder. So check in out in app folder, there is one more file is app.module.ts file. It goes into the app.module.ts file, and first it is goes in a bootstrap. Bootstrap is a key. Okay, basically @ng model is a decorator. We call it as a decorator. Whatever we use @ symbol after followed by the name of that uh, variable, that is @ng model. That ng model @ng model, we call it as a decorator. In your Spring or Spring Boot, you called it as an annotation. Okay, here we call it as a decorator. So that decorator takes a JSON object. The JSON object has a one more key, that is the bootstrap. It checks out which components we have to render. That we already it is mentioned by default. Angular created one default component, that is a app component. So here you mentioned that is a your bootstrap component is a app component. Then it checks whether that app component is declared. So it check out here a declaration section and check whether here app component is created. Yes. Then it loads the factory class of that component from here itself and goes to that app component file. App component file is nothing but your Typescript file. So it goes to your Typescript file and check it where your app component.ts file here itself. Okay. Now in TS file, there is one more decorator is present, that is a @component decorator. @component decorator gives the extra information about that component. We technically we called it as a metadata of that component. A metadata is nothing but your @component decorator. Use extra information about that component. In that metadata, here we mention the selector name, then template URL. Here mention that of that component, which view file is render. View file is meaning that your HTML file. Which view file you have to render. Here mentioned it that app.component.html file. Which style sheet file you require. There mentioned style URLs. In that it fetch that file name app.component.css file. And also it gets its component name, that is a selector. Selector is used to give a component for the mapping purpose. When you component map any other HTML files with the help of selector name, you can do it. Okay, so here app-root is your selector name. That selector name is already called in your index.html file. If you have seen, check out here there app-root. It is called in a HTML format because HTML is a hyper text markup language. So we have to call that component in markup language as well. So in technically, we call it as a, you can map your component. The line number 11 is called mapping of a component. Okay. So here we map your component with the help of selector name app-root in a HTML tag language. Okay. Then it loads that component and render it in your browser. Okay. I just run that application because I did not run that application, I think. Okay, yes. So first I have to run that application. So just a minute. I want to open that CMD here. And for the running purpose, we use a command ng serve -o. -o command is meaning it opened your Angular application automatically in your system default browser. It takes a little bit time, so we can just learn furthermore.